Welcome back to Portside. My name is Darian Slaga, and I'm a junior guard on the Pilot women's basketball team. With basketball season over, focus on the Bluff has shifted to the spring sports schedule. The Pilots women's tennis team hosted a pair of tough opponents last week. The team pushed both Arizona and San Diego, traditional tennis powers, to the brink before losing both matches by 4-3 margins. The Pilot men's tennis team dropped a tough match at nationally ranked San Diego on Sunday. The defending conference champion Pilots have played a tough 2018 schedule. All 7 Portland losses have come to teams that have been ranked this spring. The women's tennis team will hit the road for WCC matches at Santa Clara and San Francisco this week. Important matches with WCC tournament implications on the line. The men's tennis team looks to bounce back this week by hosting Santa Clara on Thursday and San Francisco on Saturday at the LP Tennis Center. Live scoring and video coverage of Portland home tennis matches are available at portlandpilots.com. Women's rowing had a quality weekend on the water down at the San Diego Crew Classic. Portland's varsity 4-boat defeated conference rivals St. Mary's and San Diego, while the second 8 beat St. Mary's and was seconds off of Loyola Marymount's boat. The varsity 8 Pilot boat also won its final heat by 7 seconds. The team will next compete at the Husky Open in Seattle on Saturday.
The San Diego Crew Classic is, I would say it's one of the biggest regattas on the West Coast, honestly. And there were a lot of their boats that really pushed us, but it was good because it was able to bring us to new limits.
2 days or 2 races, so there's heats and finals. And so that was really helpful, I think, to go out and do our first race, see the competition, and then come back, reassess, regroup, and just go out with all we have and shoot for beating the clock for what we did for our last race. And so it was good to see all the competition that we don't normally get to see. We have the mentality that we're pushing each other from the bottom up. So just to be able to have all the boats do well this weekend was really good because it sets us up for to be successful at WCCs.
Now we're joined with women's basketball assistant coach Drew Muscatel. Hey, thanks for coming.
It's great to be here, Dee.
How are you?
Doing well. How are you?
I'm good. I got some questions. You ready?
Bring it on.
All right. So, you were recently selected as a WBCA 30 under 30. Can you explain to us a little bit about what that is and what that means to you?
So each year the WBCA, which is Women's Basketball Coach Association, they select 30 coaches who are under 30 years old, and they honor them just as people in the field who are up-and-coming coaches. And obviously it's a blessing to be honored and just something that I feel very blessed to have the opportunity to work at UP with such great student athletes, and they just put me in the position to continue to grow every day, and I think that's the biggest thing.
Well, you're appreciated, you know that. What is one thing that you try to bring to the office, workouts, and practices each day?
Probably the number one thing would be energy, whether it's a 7 a.m. workout or a 7 p.m. workout. Just kind of always being energetic, upbeat, with music or high fives, kind of whatever you guys need.
Let's go.
Let's go.
Your dad is an icon in the coaching profession. So growing up in gyms, following him around, how has that influenced you in your career now?
Good question. I think that obviously I've been in gym since I was basically a baby, running the clock since I was 5 and going to like camps and being the referee when I was a 10-year-old, and just kind of being around the game gave me a true love for the game. Being around him and seeing the way he does things and the way he affects people on and off the court, I think was the biggest thing for me. So just from my profession, I truly look up to him, and I think he kind of does things the right way. Always walking into work with a smile on his face, excited to be there, ready to be there. And I really took that from him and try to do that every day myself.
With it being your 3rd year here at UP, what's the dynamic between the coaching staff been like, and from a growth aspect, what are things that you've seen over the past 3 years?
I think it's been really fun just for me with you guys as players and even in our staff. I think when I first got here, we became pretty close pretty quickly, but just, even getting closer with Coach Bree and Coach Tiffany, those guys help me out on a daily basis, and it's just fun to be in the office, joking around with them. We really have a great time. And then with you guys as players, it's something that early on, you're just developing relationships and getting to know new people. And now we've been together for 3 years, and I just feel like we're so close. So I think that's the biggest thing for me is, how great we are on court, and how much fun I have being around the team every single day, coaching staff and players, Amy, Coach Ferrati, everybody included. It's just a really cool atmosphere around the team.
Coach Drew, thanks for joining us.
It's been great to be here, Dee. Thank you.